Hello and welcome to Adobe Live. I am your host, Corey Hall, and I'm joined here today by a really good friend of mine who I'm so excited to be hosting, VooDoo Val. Val, how are you today?
I'm so good, and I'm so pumped to be here with you, like, in person for a show.
I feel like we've been waiting for this moment for a very, very long time. Val hosted me on my first ever Adobe live stream like 2 years ago, so this is a big moment for us to be here together in the studio.
This is like, and it is our first time meeting in person, so it's like, it feels like I've known you forever.
It really does. Yeah, it really does. We've got people in the chat. If you stuck around from the Andrew's live stream just a couple minutes ago, thank you for still being here. Welcome, welcome. If you're new joining us, Val, do you want to tell us a little bit about what we're doing today?
Yeah, so we're gonna dive into a little bit of illustration and a little bit of animation. I do like to do kind of like a dueling like idea for what you can do as far as illustration, like making sure that if you have a stylist, like you can join in with me and you can do everything the way that I'm doing it, but also if you would like to kind of use a mouse because maybe you don't have a stylist, we're gonna touch on a few cool things, cool ways that you can kind of transform your sketches or simple shapes into illustrative pieces. And then we're gonna dive into Adobe Express because I've been doing a lot of animation within Express lately, and I've been trying to experiment a little bit with ways to animate with Express that give it a little bit more oomph rather than just adding a little wobble or something, which is great, you know, which is great. But like, for example, recently I did this little bobblehead illustration, and I designed some little stickers and things for it for Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge recently. And I animated like the bobblehead sort of coming together and then adding like a little bobble to it. So giving the animation kind of a purpose with the illustration and making it a thing rather than just subtle movement.
Yeah, sometimes like we like some subtle movements, we like a little eye-catching movement, but a little bit of personality. A little bit of, I mean, it makes it feel a little bit more like a character, especially with an illustration too.
Yeah, exactly. And just like, kind of, you know, I hope to encourage you guys as well, just like really experiment with like what you can get out of these animation tools, because it's so incredible that we just have these at our fingertips and you can do it so quickly.
Push the boundaries.
Exactly. Especially for someone who, I'm not usually using like After Effects and Premiere and all that stuff, so getting animation this easily is really incredible to me. So what we are gonna do though is we have a different illustration that we're gonna work on, and we're gonna do something simple, but try to be intricate with our animation. So I have these little blocks which we are gonna go over the illustration process, just simple shape, and kind of transform them into some special things, but I'm gonna need some things from chat. I'm gonna need colors. We are going to, I'm gonna hide this and pull up my sketch. We are going to add a little bit of text, and I thought Adobe Live Fam would be cute to kind of stack these blocks. We can add names to the blocks, so if anybody would like a shout out, we can add some of your names. And then once we do this, we will be jumping back into Express, and we're gonna animate them stacking, like just kind of flying in and stacking up into a tower, which I thought would be super fun. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I am going to start with a red block on the top, and I'm gonna go over how you can illustrate very easily just with simple shapes, you know, and your mouse. So I'm going to create a new layer. One thing I wanna point out too, if those of you who are used to using Photoshop, if you've been using the updated newest versions and you are experimenting with the contextual taskbar, this is a new thing to get used to in Photoshop. And it can feel, I think I find that it's incredibly useful for me personally, but every once in a while I do something and it kind of jumps into the way or whatever. Andrew, I believe it was Andrew Hockrattle, told me you can pin this guy.
I learned that from him too. The master himself.
So if you love the contextual text bar but would love for it to stay where you put it, just go ahead and click these little dots here and pin position, because I do like having it up here. You know, and if I want to zoom in and pin it across my canvas, I want to, but I would like for it to stay off of my canvas. And they do give you the tools you need to kind of do that. So few approaches to doing this, and we're going to be using simple shapes so that if anybody would like to follow along, you can kind of jam with me. A very easy way to do this is just grabbing your polygonal lasso tool and going through and just creating a shape here. This works for me most of the time. Like if I decide that I want to create a shape in this way, especially if it's something that's, you know, just a few faces on it, and then I will grab my paint bucket tool and let's go ahead and, yeah, not my gradient tool. Grab my paint bucket tool and create my blocks, right?
Cool.
Another thing that you can do is you can actually use the shape tool if you come into the polygon, and we can drag out a little polygon for ourselves, and then we can alter the amount of sides it has. So let's go ahead and give it 6 sides, and then we can kind of pull this out, which honestly is like the perfect little, let's go ahead and hide this. It's the perfect little, you know, thing for this particular shape because it is so...
oh yeah, so easy.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and just transform. We're gonna snap that if we can, yeah. I kind of want to bump it like so. Let's go ahead and kind of pull it out. But yeah, I like to, you know, maybe we'll do it. Maybe we'll actually, boom.
And we've also got some people in the chat saying hi. We've got General Kenobi here.
Hello there.
He said he's been waiting to say hi to you, VooDoo Val. We've got Oliver in the chat. Carol, thanks for joining us. We saw you on the last stream. Umacorn, hey Umacorn, welcome. Frank, Stian, hello again, welcome. Jerry, let us know where you guys are tuning in from too.
Yeah.
We got a lot of different places in the chat in the last live stream, but we would love to hear from you, figure out where you're joining from. We're in San Francisco right now.
We've been having a blast too. We've been hanging out, seeing the sights just a little bit. We haven't been in the city very long, but it's been a good time. And I do so love coming here and hanging out. Okay, I'm gonna say that this is like a cool way to grab a shape and basically do the same thing we're doing here, which is like perfect for the kind of tower that we're stacking. And I think I'll probably go with the shape that I just used my polygonal lasso tool for. But I also like to use, and I'm sure there is a few people in the chat who know what I'm gonna be about to say, is I love using, if I have to illustrate with a mouse, I love using the dissolve blend mode on just a regular default brush.
Okay.
So I set my brush mode to dissolve up here, and I think that this is one of those blending modes where when you look at it, you're like, what am I going to use this for? There's a lot of really good use cases for it, but I don't think that it's in everybody's workflow.
Yep.
And I typically ignore it in favor of scrolling down to like a multiply or an overlay or something like that.
The popular ones. I can't say
Exactly.
I've ever really used dissolve, but I'm curious to see what you're going to do with it.
Well, dissolve is kind of a weird one, especially with the way that it works. So it doesn't add texture to a brush necessarily, which is actually what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to come in here and kind of bring this down, and we'll grab like a bright orange if we can.
General Kenobi says dissolve. That must be new. I don't think it is new. Is it new? I feel like it's been in there for a while.
He might be teasing me.
Okay.
He might be teasing me.
Are you teasing her?
I bet he
Okay.
is. He's a mischievous little guy. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and make a new layer. We're gonna do a clipping mask here. I'm sure nobody is surprised because this is one of my favorite things. Am I seeing clipping mask? Am I missing clipping mask? Sometimes I do that.
Let's see.
I'm in flip-flopping between Photoshop and Photoshop Beta. We are in the Photoshop Beta right now. I think I should be able to hold
Yeah, if you hold down Control
and just, do I just click it?
No, you hold and sort of hover between the two layers. And it should give you the... I'm also not as familiar with it. You're using a PC, so it might be a different keyboard shortcut.
Maybe.
It's either Option or Control.
There we go.
There
Alt.
we go. Yep.
Alt.
Okay.
So if I tap in here, you can see. Oh, let me make sure I'm actually on our clipping mask layer, right? If I tap in here, you can see it adds like just a really nice little bit of noise.
Yeah, super subtle too.
Yeah, and what it's actually doing is it's giving, like, I'm using my brush on 100% opacity completely, and so all it's doing is it's spreading everything out to give the effect of a gradient, but zooming in here, you can see it's actually still 100% opacity, just like with more distance in between where that is placed to give it a nice little addition. And this is really great if you're gonna be doing something like this where you have a limited color palette, so you're not actually getting a gradient anywhere, which is cool. So we're going to use this, and I'm going to put in the first face of our box and kind of give it some 3D form, which means I'm just going to tap here and kind of put a little bit of light by that top corner, which will be pointed in the center there. And then I'm just going to come in with more, if I can. Let's go ahead and do another layer, which I'm just doing Control-Shift-N for. And let's do the new thing I just figured out. Ta-da! I love that I can just tap
Double
that
click.
real quick. Yeah. And then I'm going to grab my lasso. And I'm going to, if I can, you know what would be a great idea is if I grabbed my sketch and brought my sketch up here just so that I can kind of peek. Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm going to grab this. I'm not going to make this perfect, to be perfectly honest. I don't think that I need to make it 100% perfect. This is kind of an illustrative piece. It doesn't have to be, actually. I did just cut that right down the center straight to that point.
That's kind of perfect what you just did.
Okay.
You said you
was
weren't going to do
holding
it perfect,
shift.
but then you did it perfect.
I was holding shift, but I didn't think I was going to actually hit that corner. So maybe I
Good
am
job.
magic after all.
It's a magical kind of morning.
It is a magical kind of
Yeah,
morning.
it is.
It really is. Definitely a magical occasion. So let's grab this and let's do a darker color. Now, somebody asked in chat the other day, and I wanted to point this out, choosing colors that work well with each other. I chose a dark red for the base of this. And something that you could do was you choose colors for an illustration, even just for like a graphic piece or a typography piece. You could just choose a lighter color just above that dark red if you wanted to, but I do like to go a little bit to like a new color, like go into an orange to add that bright color and so on, because I think that it does give it a lot more depth and intrigue. And so like if I come in here and I grab this dark red color, it might be cool to come all the way up to where there's like a tiny bit of pink and go to an even darker color just to add maybe a little bit, maybe we'll make it a tiny bit lighter, just to add a little bit of depth here, but it's not exact, like it looks less flat.
Yep, totally.
You know?
I feel like that makes it look a little bit more realistic somehow.
Yeah,
right?
like it gives it a little, because you wouldn't see something lit in life that in a way where it's only using the same exact colors from the same exact base, really. Okay, so let's go ahead and do something that I can get away with doing here is I've already got this edge selected and I like that edge. So what I'm going to do is come back to my selection tool and select inverse. And then I think I am going to go ahead and just add to this. Actually, I might need to subtract from it is what I might need to do. Boom, yeah, I need to subtract from it. So I'm going to hold Alt. And I am going to be able just to paint on another clipping mask layer right there for that top face. And that is a clipping mask. So now let's come over here and let's grab this yellow or this orange and snag a yellow. Because I think a yellow would be nice, little nice pop of color. Boom, and just throw that on the top of the box. Yeah, because now it's like, you know, it's starting to look a little cool. And it's very easy, and I'm just tapping with my mouse. It makes it so easy, I think. I kind of want to come over here. Let me see if I can do, oh, you know what? I needed to make a, this is another thing with this. I needed to make let's go ahead and do that like a whole shape, because I kind of added that already, but let's go ahead and add that whole shape and then tap some darkness and then come to our yellow just to kind of place a little bit of, there we go. So now you're not going to see anything through. So then I can come down here and I should be able to deselect and add a little bit of something if I want to.
Wow. Okay, this already looks amazing.
Thank you, thank you. I think we're gonna do a little less transparency on this side, but it just like totally gives you like 3D shape, 3D form, and it's not, honestly, it's one of the most satisfying things that I've done when it comes to like doing a little bit of cool illustration and stuff, and I think that it brings me a lot of joy to do because it's so relaxing to do, and it also just adds kind of a nice little bit of something to little extra texture. I guess you could do this without the dissolve, you know, but I think that it's just, you know, maybe it's just personal preference.
Extra.
Yeah. I keep hitting the wrong button because I am also kind of coming back, you know, back and forth from using a Mac and using a PC, which happens. Let's do darker on that edge because it doesn't look awful to have that there, but I kind of want to do darker. Maybe we'll actually, I wonder if we could come up above this and do some of that right there. Maybe here. that might work.
Yeah, I like that.
That's kind of cool.
It looks like the light's kind of coming in from that side a little bit.
Yeah, and then I'm just gonna group all of those together. But we need a few of these because we're gonna make like a stack. So one thing that we can do is, let's go ahead and I'm gonna convert this to a smart object, and we're gonna play around with some like adjustment layers and things, and see if we can kind of alter the colors a little bit, which is where chat comes in. So if you guys would like to suggest any colors at all, and you as well, Corey,
Yes.
if you have any colors
I
that
will
you
have some
love.
color suggestions.
I'm just gonna go ahead and duplicate some of these, and we are gonna create ourselves a little stack.
Yep, so if you're joining us in the chat, I see Christopher joining us in the YouTube chat. If you are joining us in YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Follow Adobe Live on Instagram as well for all the live stream updates and other updates and more. Val, can you just give us, if we've got some new people joining us, can you give us just another quick recap of what we're working on today?
Yeah, so we're creating some kind of illustrative pieces out of simple shapes. It's not uber intricate here, but the real intricacy for this project is going to be how we animate it. So we are going to create this stack of blocks here, and we are going to open our file in Adobe Express, and we're going to do a little some of this. So I have been experimenting with the ways that you can kind of be intricate with some of the animation features. And so I have this bobblehead that I created, and I kind of animated it like assembling together and doing, you know, its little bobblehead move. And I even had a few other versions where I had them like the pieces flying at different times, which we can do. Maybe we can, we're going to actually kind of jump into the show layer timing and have those blocks flying at different times.
Okay.
So we'll do that with our blocks, is like just kind of creating a base that we can jump in and do some intricate animation with.
Awesome.
And I think that it would be cool to experiment with how they animate as well. So we could have them dropping one after the other into the stack, or we could have them flying in from the sides, you know, whatever we want to do.
We've got all the options.
Yeah, we can literally do anything.
And speaking of options, in the chat, drop in some color options. What are some colors you want to see for these cubes that Val is making right here? We've got some kind of like nice dirty reds. I don't know, I'm kind of thinking like a nice purple sounds nice, like a,
You know,
a
I
deep
was hoping you'd
eggplanty
say-
purple. I know how much you like purple. But if anyone's got other color suggestions, we're gonna probably play with some adjustment layers on these cubes, right?
Yes, indeed.
And we're gonna experiment with some other colors. We've got our first color from CJ, teal.
Oh, okay. All
Okay.
right, we can do a teal. And I'm gonna name these real quick so that I don't get totally lost in my project here. So I'm gonna call this, like, we have the one on the side, we have the one on the top. We have, I believe this is middle. Yes, indeed. We'll call this middle.
Logan
and
says
bottom.
royal purple sounds good. Yep.
You guys, I just adore you all. Thank you so much, because I wasn't gonna say it. But, you know, sometimes chat lets me get away
Yeah.
with talking about my favorite
Well, and if
stuff.
you know anything about Val and your illustration style, your overall vibe and essence, it's very like dark and witchy. It's mystical. We throw in a little bit of Star Wars in there. If we could get one of our moderators to drop in Val's Behance page and
Yeah.
website, that would be amazing. You should definitely check out her work. But that will definitely inform you a little bit of like the color palette that we're working with here.
Absolutely. So one of the things that you can do when it comes to using adjustments is you could do Control U, which will open up your hue and saturation, and we can easily like come through and alter this. Honestly, I don't mind that.
Yeah.
That's pretty poppin'. The thing about this is that we have used several different colors when it comes to kind of illustrating our little polygon into 3D, you know, 3D space. So we could do this. You could do a hue and saturation, which isn't bad, but if we do instead a color balance, then we can start to alter those different colors separately and give it a
Gotcha.
little bit more depth.
Okay.
So I'm gonna come in, I've just selected my adjustments here, and we can go into color balance. And I'm gonna clip this. Ooh, I'm gonna use my new, I'm gonna do that all the time now. I never have
Isn't
to
it
right click.
amazing?
I do,
I
yeah.
love it.
And you know what? I've seen Cody Bear do that as well, because Cody Bear is kind of the queen of clipping masks, and I should have been doing this a long time ago. But yeah, so we've got our color balance open, and as I said, because we have done, let's actually clip this to the middle one. Because I've done, you know, using different tones, we've got a little bit of pink, we've got some orange, we have some red, we have some yellow, and so on in there, then I can kind of come in and alter this. That's not clipped.
And it looks like this tool will give you a little bit more nuance and control over the colors that you're choosing. Which could be perfect because we've got Carol Pearl in the chat saying, purple and aqua with a rosy glow.
That's amazing.
I like that suggestion.
I do.
I like that.
That's very in-depth.
Ooh, and that color that you have right there is beautiful.
It's kind of like a teal, but it's also kind of like it reminds me of like almost crystalline.
Yes,
kind
I
of.
was gonna say it's like mystical. It feels a little bit magical. Yeah, I really like that.
So that's just kind of messing with the midtones. This is always going to be like default to midtones. We can jump in with the shadows and the highlights too. I think I'm gonna come into highlights though and see if we can't do, like even more kind of greenish. And that I think it's really, really cool to be able to do it that way rather than just like sliding on the hue and saturation, because that hue and saturation slider, while it does good work for you, it doesn't give you the kind of depth that maybe you want. So
this
we've got the
tealish.
Well, maybe this is more green now, more emerald, but I'm gonna say that goes with our teal sort of suggestion.
I like it. Cody Bear also popped into the chat, said, I heard my name. With the
yeah,
eye
we were
emoji.
talking about the Cody Bear being the queen of clipping masks. And I have finally figured out how to do our little holding Alt and just transforming something to a clipping mask easily, so I'm in love with it. All right, so we've got this. We've got our top. Somebody was saying as well, what else do we have? We had
so we had a royal purple.
A royal purple.
We kind of were like dabbled in the teal a little bit here. We had like a rose gold suggestion at one point.
I think the rose gold suggestion is gonna be our side one, because I don't know if I want to put bright rose gold underneath everything, you know, like it should be like brighter, catching more light over on the side. So then we have like this red, we have like kind of a teal, and then we'll go into that purple down at the bottom, which I think will be like nice. So let's go ahead and let's come in with another color balance. And also, how are we doing on time? Oh, not too bad. We still have like, like a half hour. Okay, so let's go ahead and hold Alt. Make it a clipping mask. Ooh, that's so satisfying. And let's go ahead and kind of swoop in here with some purple. I love this, and I could actually end up putting that green one on the bottom if I decide that, no, maybe we will go darker with it. I don't know, we'll see.
Oh, I love that dark purple.
That is a good dark purple, it really is. Let's go ahead with highlights and see if we might do something slightly different. I almost do like it being like more dark, more subtle. I think we're gonna leave it like that. I think that's cool. And let's go ahead, I'm just gonna group these. And in fact, I'm not going to open that. That's like one of my, I feel like a lot of people have ways that they learned how to do something in Photoshop, and then they just like kind of keep doing it that way. So I'm trying, that's one of my personal goals, is to kind of streamline a little bit like how I'm doing, because I use a lot of hotkeys, but there are things like that, right-clicking my layer and going into those settings that I just have never deviated from.
Yep, totally. For people in the chat, I just dropped VooDoo Val's website into there. If we could have one of the moderators maybe drop in a clickable link, otherwise you can just copy and paste that in there, but make sure you check out VooDoo Val's work. It's all very much of this vibe. Thank you, CJ, I appreciate that. And I totally hear you. The thing about Photoshop is I kind of look at it as like a sketching tool, and like any kind of sketching tool, you get used to sort of like the way of doing things that you sort of first learned it as.
Absolutely.
But what's great about certainly watching these live streams is you learn sort of like new, easy shortcuts for getting around, different ways of doing the same thing.
Yeah.
There's 5 different ways of doing one thing in Photoshop, which is what makes it so cool and powerful.
Exactly. Everybody has their own workflow. Everybody has, and I think too, like unless you're in a time crunch, you know, I think that the best way really is the way that brings you the most joy.
Yeah.
You know? Also, with these shapes, because they're so simple and fun, I can literally just reorder my layers and it looks like they're stacked perfectly. So I threw the red one on the bottom. I'm wondering now if I'm gonna go back and I'm just gonna swap the purple and the green. So I'm gonna come over and put this underneath, and we're gonna bump this up, or down, I should say. And let's snag our purple one and see what it looks like if our purple is in the center here, which honestly, I'm not mad about this.
Yeah,
I'm not.
I kind of like that.
Let me bump this down actually and just make sure that
We've got a question too. Carol says, Val, do you know about create layer for a layer style? I'm not sure what they're asking.
Create layer for a layer style, as in like.
So if you were to go in and like create a new adjustment layer, is that what they mean, or?
The only time I've used create layers or convert to layers is like after, like this is a smart object, so I can like right click and convert to layers and it'll convert it back. That might be a feature that I just don't use often in my own workflow, but it's definitely something that I could look up, and maybe that's something we can touch on tomorrow, because Corey and I will be hanging out here tomorrow as well.
Yep, so make sure if you're tuning in today, make sure you also tune in. Val and I will be guesting with Val, who will be hosting me, and then we'll do a little flip-flop. I think we're starting at 11 o'clock tomorrow, right?
Me and you, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing some Firefly. We're going to be doing work with regenerative AI in Photoshop, using the new Firefly website, and we're going to be making all sorts of cool things tomorrow.
It's going to be a blast. This is going to be definitely. Ooh, let me make sure this is clipped. I'm still clicking. I'm still right-clicking, first of all, whenever I go in here to do this. But I think that I did end up going back to the original like order here. Ooh, that's pretty cool. Let's go into our highlights. Only because I realized that like I didn't like the distribution of like super dark tones and super light tones. So what I'm gonna do is let's see if we preserve luminosity. That does kind of have like when the preserve luminosity is off, it does look like a mauve kind of vibe, which is kind of cool, honestly, but I don't want it to be so close to that purple and red that it's like not hitting quite right.
Yeah.
I wonder if I do like the idea of having like a rose gold one, but I wonder if we should do like a blue, because we've got two like, we have like red and purple.
Yeah.
Which I guess technically purple is also kind of a blue.
Kind of cooler.
But this is definitely a warm purple.
Yeah.
And so we have a green, so I think I might go ahead and go for a blue instead for this one, but that is not to say that I don't absolutely adore the idea of doing more of a rose. But it's
so
nice.
Pretty. It is so pretty.
Oh no, it's cute though.
Yeah, we like it. Well, can we do a little comparison side by side? Can we see what rose gold looks like, and then like a deep royal blue?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
We can ask people in the chat what they prefer too.
Yeah.
Because we had a couple suggestions. We did have a suggestion for royal blue, and we did have a suggestion for rose gold. So maybe let's just see what people like.
Let's keep it like very
That's so
goldy.
pretty.
It is. I wonder if we could make it like peachy. But it's kind of like too orangey.
Yeah.
That is really cute. That is super cute. And so let's go ahead and group these. And then I'm just gonna duplicate, and we'll kind of come in here and alter it. Let's make it blue.
Someone in the chat, Alexander says, my dad always told me there's 1,000 things to do one thing in Photoshop, and you just gotta find what works for you. Alex, I am jealous that your dad knows Photoshop. That is like super cool. It's like passing down the family legacy of like knowledge in Photoshop. Like generations to come will be talking about like the ways to do things in Photoshop. I kind of love that.
Can we please normalize that? Like, like moving forward, the next generation of creatives, like cause we're gonna be like old and gray, like designing.
We're gonna be like clicking away on our Photoshops and like
this was my notebook.
Like passing down our knowledge to like the next generation.
Yes.
Oh my god, I kind of love that.
Let's do it. You know what? I'm not mad at the blue.
I like the blue.
I'm not mad at the blue, but I almost like the warmth of the. Well, what does chat think? What do you guys think?
Yeah, let's hear in the chat. I would love to hear what everyone thinks.
We could also kind of swap and like put that green on the bottom. It just makes me feel like the green is out of place now.
Yeah. I do think the blue balances nicely in a way, because the purple next to the rose gold, like maybe they're just like a little bit more similar in hue and tone.
Yeah. I might go with this. You know that this works. And we'll just see, how that plays out. Another thing that I want to double check real quick, and that is, I want to see, okay, I'm just making sure that it's like a whole block over here. Because if it wasn't a whole block, that would make it really awkward for the animation that we're gonna do. So another thing that we could do as well is, I was thinking it would be nice if we had in the previous sketch, like the idea sketch, I should say, I did have like almost like little Lego connectors on it, you know, so I kind of want to add something like that, but I'm thinking it doesn't have to be super intricate. What it can be is just like a circle with a drop shadow, which we can get away with that, so it's almost like an indent. And what I'm going to do also is let's go ahead and convert these to smart objects because we can always come back to them. We'll call this rows. I like to name in caps. Do you name in caps? Do you like have like a system?
I do title case with mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Like
it's just like the first letter of each word is
okay.
capitalized.
Okay.
Yeah, I do not love when it's no caps.
Okay.
I find that so hard to read. Chaos. Alexander says, me, my brother, and my dad all work with Photoshop and such. Family of creatives. That is so cool.
That is amazing.
That's amazing. I'm
Wow.
so jealous.
That's super cool.
Carol says, that's just fabulous.
Please be our friend.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
And sort of on that note, so if anyone in the chat, either on YouTube or on Behance, would like to nominate other creatives, you could nominate yourselves to be on Adobe Live. Submit yourself, submit your friends. We're always looking for new people to be on Adobe Live. That's how VooDoo Val and I met. It's a great way to network. It's a great way to get your work out there. It's a great way to learn new skills, meet new people. So make sure to nominate yourself, nominate your friends if that's something you might be interested in doing. We love having new creatives over here.
I do actually, like, because I have like this purpley background, I do like kind of like it with the color, because it's almost like everything is steely.
Yep.
Like everything's metallic.
Yes.
And I'm kind of digging that vibe, honestly. I think the only thing that we really need is let's, you know, come over here. And this again is just like, I'm just hanging out on my with my mouse. I did bring a stylus in just in case, but like I really do like working where I don't always have to use a stylus.
Yeah.
You know, and
When you're kind of following like what's intuitive for you in the moment.
Yeah, yeah. I want something darker, but oh, you know what? Why is that not? Oh, there we go. I was like confused for a second. I was like, why are you not giving me a dark color? I don't know if I want it to be like crazy, crazy dark, but let's do something like that and just.
Umacorn also likes to use caps when they're naming their layer styles.
Awesome.
We've got like-minded people here in the chat.
I approve 100%. I almost think that perhaps I should have like more of a gradient sort of vibe here, so it's not so super bright.
Yeah, that's nice.
You know? It also kind of makes the edge of our stuff pop over there if it's like not as crazy. I'm gonna go ahead and go with that. And there's some, you know, there's a lot of stuff that I think you could do to this to, you know, make it a little more, you know, alter the colors and make them fit a little bit better. But I would like to kind of dive into doing a lot of animation stuff maybe after we could put like that little indent. I don't know if it's 100% necessary though, because the basic gist is that we now have like these super cool blocks.
Yep, totally.
Where we can do this. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's turn this to a smart object. I am, for the purpose of opening the file, I don't think I need my sketches and previous stuff, honestly. I don't think that I do. So we'll just hide it. And we can delete it if it pops up in the other thing.
Okay, wait, Alexander said caps. Okay, I'm still stuck on the layer naming thing.
Okay.
He said caps for groups, lowercase for layers is my go-to. I really like that system. That feels like cool and intuitive.
That is pretty cool. I kind of like, I do everything in caps, so all of the time my files are just screaming at me. Yep. Like that's basically how I do it.
You like a sense of urgency?
Yeah.
Does it keep you motivated?
Yes, it does,
definitely.
definitely. I do feel I'm anxious.
Uh-huh.
But yeah.
There's a lot of screaming. It's making you anxious, but it's also keeping you moving.
Get it done.
Yeah,
get it done.
Totally,
you know?
totally.
So I'm gonna go ahead and save this, and I do have this saved. This is not saved like as a cloud file. It's saved on my computer itself. So I'm gonna pop over into Adobe Express, and we are going to say start from your content. And I have, please don't look at my video games. We're gonna go into Photoshop Express animations and we're gonna open up blocks. And it's gonna upload for us so that we can peek. It gives us a little
little preview.
Little preview right here.
Which I'm already just like, I love the way
do.
that looks. That looks so cool.
I do like it a lot, and I feel like it needs like typography.
Yeah.
You know, like it needs like typography on the side of it, like on the blocks and whatever. It would be
maybe
really,
a little
really
animated
cool.
typography in there.
Yeah. Maybe
Okay.
we can do some of that. I think that would be cool. So it says once you use these linked files uploading from your content, you can start from a PDF, PSD, and Illustrator file, I believe.
Okay. Yep. That's right.
So we can do, you know, it says you've saved this in your Express files. Go ahead and open an editor. And then it should give me, all of my little files over here. It might take a little bit to load, but that's fine. We can kind of chit-chat about what we're going to do as we go through it. So I've got my blocks, and it's all files. So that one thing, I wasn't sure if that was going to show up, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
But that one folder of stuff is not even in here. I've just got all of my little block layers, which kind of looks delicious over there, let me just say.
Like almost like little chocolate truffles.
Yeah, or
They've
like
been, like sprinkled with something.
Like little high chews.
Oh my gosh.
Like little
Do you want to talk about that too?
We hung out yesterday evening, and we were kind of like gushing about our favorite candies and stuff. And so
And you got a high chew cocktail.
I did. I got a high chew cocktail, which I didn't know that existed,
Didn't
but
know
it
either.
does, and it was great. But I would love to know in the chat what your favorite flavor of haichu is, if you are a haichu fan, and if you are not a haichu fan,
Then
let us
you're
tell you.
wrong.
Yeah, then you're right. Then you need haichu in your life. So one of the first things that I noticed with this, and this could just be because they're smart objects, and so everything is not like crispy, but we do want to do a little bit of altering and editing here, because it looks good small, but like as I zoom in, we're getting a little muddy, maybe. Like as it's, I don't know if anybody's going to be viewing my video this close after I do this animation, but it could be interesting to maybe come over into our background here and make it like a slightly lower opacity, almost like that, giving it a little bit of clarity. And then these can be as bold as they want. And they do move, you know, so we've literally got, oh my gosh, it'd be really cool if we could like unfold this. Like there's a lot of stuff that we can do here with this. So let's first do the obvious thing. Let's have them like drop down. And we're gonna do bottom, second, bottom, middle, side, top. I think that's what we're gonna do. So I'm just gonna snag that little guy. Also, let's go ahead. We might have to remove. I'm gonna actually just push this over here because we don't want to show the pink one. I don't think.
But kind of nice that we have it over there as an option if we like want to show it.
Yes. The only thing is, like, I'm realizing is I can't really hide it, so it might just be there.
Can you go over to the layers maybe? I feel like if you hover or right click maybe on one of them. No. Okay.
No. But let's see. I mean, we could just remove it for now.
Yeah.
Or we could just put it. What happens if we just put it over here? No, it doesn't like that. Oh, there we go.
Okay, cool.
We're just gonna pop it over there for now. Okay, so let's drop these in here. Let's go into animation, and let's say our animation in should be, I mean, we could straight up drop it, but I kind of, what is bungee? Yeah.
Do a little bounce.
I kind of like the bungee bounce. So let's do bungee. And then we're going to come over here into edit timeline and show layer timing, because I want this to do this at different times. So let's click our blue then, and we're going to, if this is when our, it's still kind of doing its bungee here, let's start the blue there. And let's go into animation in bungee. And then we can scroll, and this is like, it's still kind of doing its bungee right here. We'll have this one drop in and move it to like 4 seconds or so, and we're gonna throw that in as well, bungee. And then as it's still bungeeing, we'll do the orange, and let's just see what that does, because it's kind of cool.
Yep.
It's kind of cool. So let's come all the way back. Let's see.
Ooh, Oh my God, that's so fun.
It's actually
I
really
love that.
cool because it has, so it's like, going beyond a little bit of that, like something is just wobbling, which, as I said, that is really cool to
Totally.
do. Something is wobbling around, adding a little bit of movement to your designs, but like kind of creating a little more intrigue with like
you're
what
creating
that
a story
does.
here.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm gonna watch that again because it makes
It's so fun. It's so
makes me
satisfying.
so happy. I'm gonna close that and then I'd like to zoom in just a little bit. Can we? Is that too far?
Zoom to fit selection or zoom to fit all?
Zoom to fit selection, actually.
Oh wait, no, that's too far.
Zoom
There we go.
I wonder if I can just. We'll do like.
There we
do
go.
Like that. That's good. Okay. I want to peek.
Oh my
And
God,
the
it's so
like the
cute.
bounce is perfect.
They're so bouncy.
I love that. Okay, I am gonna save that one because I really like it. But I think we can do another one and utilize our pink. And then maybe we can have them like slide in like stairs as well. So let's go ahead and I do want to save, let's call this blocks 1. Blocks 1.
Everyone in the chat loves this, by the way.
Yeah, okay.
Unicorn says, one more time, clever, loves
Okay.
it. Alexander said, looks so dope. General Kenobi loves it. And CJ says it makes them look like Jell-O cubes, which I completely agree.
Oh my gosh, it does.
Yep.
See, now as like the illustrator in me wants to go back and like put like little pieces of fruit and stuff floating in the cubes.
Oh, that would be so
like
cute.
It's like
they're suspended in there like Jell-O.
Yes, exactly. Like it's got like, well, what is everybody's favorite fruit? I might do that later on. Not today for this one, but that might be
Another
something.
live stream.
Send me a message, DM me, tell me what fruits you like. Maybe I'll add some fruits to these because it would be super cute.
We did get a mango haichu as a favorite in the chat, by the way.
It's mango haichu. I think like mango and honeydew to me are the best ones. I know that you're more partial to mango, so mango is definitely an acceptable answer.
Yeah, I had a bad experience with a honeydew haichu. Of course, honeydew haichu is very good, but it's beyond me. I can't do it anymore. It's too long to get into of a story for right now. That's a story for another time.
I'm gonna open this again.
So
we're gonna have 2.
You opened up your Photoshop file.
Yeah.
In Adobe Express. You were able to add those animations to it, and then you saved it within Adobe Express. Now you're opening up the same Photoshop file, and you're going to add a different type of animation.
Yeah, we're gonna do like a different thing and see what we can come up with because we've got that extra block. Now I'm super excited we made that extra block.
Yeah. No.
Because now we have more stuff that we can toy with, which is going to be really cool. So we've got our blocks now, and this is blocks 1, and this is going to be blocks 2. So let's go ahead and name that so that I keep track of that because we're using like identical shapes. So now I feel like we should do, it would be really cool, like in my mind, I thought about them like flying in and like stacking up like that. That could be really cool. But I'm more than willing to take suggestions for the chat. So if you guys have some cool gestures or things that would be interesting to you to see, we could do that. What?
Clever says honeydew is a big honey don't for me.
Honeydew?
More like honey don't.
Honey don't.
Honey don't. That could be a drag name.
Honey don't.
Honey don't. Wait, I love that.
I kind of want that like on a shirt.
Yeah.
With like, you know how they do like the circular like designs for something and then there's text in it, but make the circle like a melon.
Yep.
And it's like honey don't.
Maybe that'll be, if I do I'll do another live stream and I'll make a t-shirt.
A honey don't
t-shirt,
shirt.
a honey don't shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Clever, thank you.
Please do this.
Clever, I mean, your name says it all.
I know, honestly.
Clever is clever. Thank you, Clever.
So let's come in and see like what kind of ideas we can kind of go through here. So let's look at the animation because we have looping, or we have like animate in, looping, and animate out. So we could technically have the blocks like all bounce in and then maybe do a little ripple, you know,
like
and then
that.
all jump out.
Cool.
We could try to do that.
Yeah.
So let's see if we can get super, super fancy. It would be interesting if we were to, I don't know, throw the pink block. Maybe we'll put the pink block in the background. And it's gonna make me touch the blue one because that one is the one that's you know.
And so as we're animating, we have a question in the chat from Logan. And Logan asked, is the duration of the animation defaulted at 5 seconds?
I think that is like a default, but let's kind of check the duration. Let's throw an animation on. I just kind of put that there so it's like continuing out there. But let's go ahead into animation. And let's throw an animation on this. We're just gonna do like a grow, just so that it's like, just has an animation, which will turn this into a timeline. So if I go into edit timeline, the default is 5, but look, I can stretch this to what I want. I can make this longer or shorter. I can add more scenes. I can make it shorter. I can make it like a couple of seconds if I want to, whatever I want. So it will default you to 5 seconds. But keep in mind that if you want the gesture animations and things to happen for a longer duration than that default 5 within that, like maybe you want this to be you know, closer to 10 seconds long. And then this animation, if I go show layer timing so that I can click and look at my my little box layer specifically, I can also change the duration of how this does its thing within here. So you can alter that very easily. You can also duplicate scenes and or start another scene from scratch. And I've made videos within Adobe Express that last a couple of minutes because I'm, you know, or like a minute and a half. I've made Instagram reels and stuff. You can make something that is longer than that, whatever, you know, you're looking for. So I'm gonna leave it like to the duration here until we make our decision on what we're gonna do. I think maybe doing something that's like, let's do 8 seconds, only because we're adding another block now, and we wanna like kind of mess around here. So if we have that little bounce, I don't think that it needs to be I mean, we could do like, it just goes ba 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 ba. Like it all like kind of just arrives into existence, and then we could make them do like a little jiggle, and then they could just jump off camera.
Ooh, I like that.
Let's do that.
The whole story.
Yes. So it'll grow, and what I want is for that duration, I want it to grow faster. I want it to be like a pop.
Yep.
And let's look and just double check that there isn't something that, oh, there's a pop.
Oh my God, wow. Ask and you shall receive. Joshua in the chat. Hey Josh, thanks for joining us.
So it's a little quicker.
Oh, it's a
What do we want?
It's a slow little pop.
Yeah. Well, this is the looping, like the looping one.
Okay.
So I'm wondering if like, do we want? That's a little anxious.
Yeah,
for
it's a
me.
little weird. It's like trembling.
I don't think I want any of them to disappear.
No.
Let's not make them spin.
No, spinning this.
Blinking, wiggle. Wiggle could be interesting. I don't know. Yo-yo?
What is yo-yo?
Oh, that's like kind of cool.
Yeah, kind of like yo-yo.
That's kind of neat. I wonder if there's an intensity. Let's do even a smaller amount. Let's go to 1. I wonder if that's a little too much because I want it to, remember, this is like on the stack.
Yep.
So if we do it like that.
I like that it pops in.
Yeah. Unless they kind of all do it, but I wouldn't want them to be overlapping with each other to break that magic of like, this is a 3D stacked.
Yep, totally.
Yeah. So we could just, you know, get rid of that. But if we do a pop in, and then we do like a tumble out, and let's have this one tumble to the left. That did kind of look. Let's do more rotation.
Boop.
Okay.
Nice.
So it does actually look, because it's right there, it looks like it's like tumbling off of the block. So that's kind of cool. So let's do that. So we've got this like popping in, tumble out. This is actually going to not pop in until like kind of the end.
Yeah, because it's the top one.
Yeah. So we're gonna push this out here, and we're gonna come out to, you know what I wanna do is I wanna like move this just to, I line that up pretty good. I just wanna make sure that it's lined up.
And so a question in the chat, Alexander says, how complex can you make animations in Express?
That's kind of what we're figuring out right now. This is something that I've been experimenting with recently, just to try and see like what really can I accomplish with this, because animating in Express is something that I have been doing just to like kind of see if I could add a little bit more interest
Yeah.
to some of the things that I was doing.
Like how far can you push things?
Yeah. And then I was like, but I'm not the kind of person that's going to jump into After Effects. I've done it before. It's not a favorite of mine because I'm more illustration minded, and when I get into After Effects, it's just not for me, And I've dabbled in there a little bit, but this has been like kind of a really cool thing because I can be a little more intricate. So this is, I think really it's up to you, like how intricate you want to be. I'm sure there's some things that you won't be able to do just because, it's not an only animation service, but
and I'm just gonna do a quick time check. We've got about 5 minutes left here.
Okay, I think we are gonna be perfect. So these are all popping in, and it looks great. Let me really get this in here though, because we want that to be like back there. I shouldn't have done that one
Afsal is asking, is this a beta version? I think what you're asking is Express a beta version? This is not a beta version of Express.
No.
We're just on new.express.adobe.com.
I think that pops in really nice, and then we want all of these to go. We want this top one, sorry, just to cut in there. We want the top one to go away first.
Yep.
We don't want them to start going away in the same order they appeared. So we're gonna do it in reverse. So there's that one. And then I'm gonna come over here to the green one. We're gonna throw that animation tumble, and we are going to have this one, as soon as it clears, there we go. Then we're gonna start this one. And let's do, how did I tumble that? Purple, pink, green, blue. So let's do the blue. So that blue one.
Ooh, oh my gosh, it looks so good already.
Let's have it tumble to a different, we might actually have it start a little bit later. And then we are going to have it tumble to the opposite direction too.
Cool.
So let's do direction, boom. That's just previewing that one. So boom, that one pops up.
Ooh, I like that.
It actually is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I wonder if there needs to be a tiny bit of difference, but it doesn't actually make them overlap in a way where I don't believe they're still 3D.
Yeah, it still looks realistic
I might
in the way they tumble
do
out.
slightly more time just to kind of play with it, but I don't want to be too precious with it because we do want to make sure we have time for everything. So that comes in, and then the blue one, I think we said. So right about here, let's select our blue, and let's do the out tumble, and that's gonna go that way. We'll have it just pop right off over there, because we still want movement happening. So like by the time the red fades, the blue is also in motion, so that everything is like kind of cohesively just boom. And then we'll do the purple one as well. Let's go ahead and do, was it purple? Purple was first. Was purple first?
I think
Purple was first.
Yep.
So it's pink next. So we're gonna have the pink one fly off.
Gosh, this already looks so good.
Like right here, I think would be a good time for pink because blue just left. So we'll do pink is gonna kind of come back here, and that one is going to out and tumble and to the left.
Yep. Kane is asking too, is this a GIF? So can you save this as a GIF?
I've never saved anything as a GIF. I know that you can edit GIFs and stuff.
Yeah, so what we're working on right now is a video. So we are actually, and I'll just do a quick recap as Val finishes this out, but Val illustrated these cubes in Adobe Photoshop, Photoshop Beta actually. We created multiple layers, one for each of the different cubes, and then we brought the Photoshop file into Adobe Express, which then broke it out into the same layers that it was in Photoshop, and now we're editing those Photoshop layers within Express using the animate tools in Express.
Yeah, and we've done a few different ones too.
Yep.
So this is one of them, just to give a little, we just have like all these kind of dropping in, which was really fun, and then the one that we're working on here is our last one. Let's see if this works. I wonder if I should like, it needs to be kind of, I mean, that looks cool.
That does look cool.
But it needs to be like boom, boom, boom,
Yep,
boom,
a little
boom.
faster.
Yeah, when they pop in. I don't know if I have enough time really to like make that a little smoother, so we can peek at this one last time. But yeah, it's like, you know, kind of a cool little thing just to be able to jump in and do some interesting animations that are, you know, kind of like get creative with it.
Yep.
Experiment.
Thank you everyone in the chat for joining us. Make sure you stay tuned. We've got Andrew coming back into the stream today. Val, you're going to be hosting Andrew as he shows us a little bit more animation in Adobe Express. And then I will be following slot at noon. Val is going to be hosting me, more work in Adobe Express. So make sure you stay tuned. Thanks for joining us.
Adios, guys.